This last segment was cosmic. This one is personal. It can feel like we're living in winter, uncertainty, tension, darkness. But winter is never the end. It's a preparation for spring. Jesus spoke of this in the parable of the fig tree. When new leaves appear, you know summer is near. Right now, the old world is fading and the new world is being born. At the same time, and this is a real challenge, and there is a real light breaking through. In this segment is about trusting the seasons you can't fully see yet and having faith in what's growing beneath the surface. So let's talk about now the seasons. We talked and we explained how life is cyclical, both personally as the human collective, civilization, even cosmically, the universe is going through cycles, and that's what we're going through. But now we just talk about the seasons. We're going from one season, and I like this one specifically that we're living, which is a winter, and how everything is cold. Everything, there's no leaves. Everything seems to be dead. But in a way, we can see that everything is resting. It's dormant. Everything is getting ready. And I always like the analogy, what I teach in the Mayan mathematics, is it talks about the sun. The four stages of like a seed when it's being planted and when it's sown. And winter is the last stage, is the last quarter of let's say this sequence, where everything is left to faith. If you were good in your intention, if your actions, if everything that you put your heart and soul into that seed that you planted,
Yeah.
eventually what's going to come out, what's going to be sown, is something beautiful. It's a fruitful tree, that has the fruits of the spirit. But if you put in bad things, bad intentions, everything, what's in it, what's going to sprout? So think of seasons, and think of these transitions as like I said, winter to spring, as an act of faith, where you're just letting God take its work, and letting it come to life with the best intention. So what can you tell us about this, Dan? I know it's a hard topic, or it's a interesting concept, but what can we explain to our audience about how we move in seasons?
Well, if we take the season that we are in now, winter, one of the beautiful gift of that is that, first of all, we know that when comes winter, we have to protect ourselves, and symbolically as well as truthfully. And
Mm-hmm.
what we can do is we stay within, but not only within our home, within our being. And so that is a perfect timing to commune and get even closer to our Creator, the creature, small c, with the Creator, capital C, and have them do one-on-one. And in that peace that is beyond all understanding. And it's amazing how the fruition starts to, first of all, take roots. If it doesn't take root, it won't last long. And so the deeper the root, the better the fruits of the spirit. And so it's a season to be careful, cautious. If you go outside, what do? We protect ourselves. If we drive here, I'm talking about here in Montreal and around, there's a lot of snow. So we learn to drive cautiously. So symbolically speaking, to learn to drive ourselves, our life cautiously. It's a season like that, to be cautious and watch and all this, and be careful not to hurt others. And at the same time, to stay within. I just love now the winters to stay in just like animals, when you go in the cavern and you just
Mm-hmm.
hibernate. I just go out if need be, but I don't go waste my time in restaurants and shopping and this and that. No, no. I need to go, I go. Then I come back and I commune. And it's unbelievable the revelations that God does. We all have a fragment of God, a spark of God in us. And if we only shut down and be quiet for a while, He's going to say, okay, now I can talk to you, because He's polite. So He doesn't talk when we talk. So He needs that. We need to be silent and then listen
Mm-hmm.
to Him. And then we can talk again to Him and He can talk to us. And then it becomes a beautiful love affair of, communication between the divine and the human and the divine, HD mode, human and divine. And so it is the season for that. But even then, to end, Santiago, look, Now the sun is staying up longer and it's bringing hope. Oh, yes, spring is coming. Oh, so we have hope. We feel better. We feel that joy. The hardest part has been through. So even as society, I feel that the hardest part we've been through. And now we're toward the end, and there's so much hope in the horizon.
And I like this that you're saying, and we're talking about this specific winter season, and we're talking about 1 year. We're talking about this is the year 2026, February 14th. Let's put it on the date, and this is the transition where, and you can feel it. Just a couple of days ago, I felt warmer. I don't want to say warm, but warmer days here.
Yes.
And that's what it starts to tell you of what's happening. But let's take this to a cosmic level and let's go beyond just this year and this season and this physical winter, and going into physical spring. What is it that's happening in a cosmic level? Because we're going as a civilization, I see a transition in this planet as the human society, human civilization. But I also see or I feel that there is a cosmic transition as well that goes beyond just what's happening here in this planet, but is happening, in different places within our local universe. So, what can you tell us? What can you say that's happening? This evolution into spring in our society, in our human civilization, and our cosmic civilization. What can you tell us about this, Diane?
I feel that I observe, that's the correct word. I observe that many people are talking about, oh, the coming of Jesus, the coming back of Christ, because he did say that he's going to come back. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would say that energetically, cosmically, if we are just the smallest way attuned to what's happening, we can feel it in the air. Talking to people, they will say, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel it. I feel there's something happening. Well, I think so too. And it's obvious that something is happening. And this is why I call it the great cleansing, because there's so much change. Let's just assume
Mm-hmm.
symbolically that Jesus would come, okay? I think you will agree with me that the planet is not in the best shape, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So a
Yes.
master, when he owns a beautiful manor, a beautiful residence, he's not going to want to come back in a dirty cesspool of all kinds of, I don't even need to say the words, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
people are being made more and more aware intellectually, spiritually, at the soul level of things that are correct to do and not correct to do, of to make corrections and all this. Because if a master wants to go back to his mansion, he wants to come to a clean house. So it's only understandable that for a while, at least for a while, there's going to be what I call the great cleansing period, when all the dirt shows up, comes up, and we find out there's this, you need to see that, and the mold, and we know. But it's only for a while. To do what? For us to get to work and clean up our act. Clean up
Mm-hmm.
our act so that spiritually we can awaken individually and collectively to rise up in our values. And if someone would come, to be able to say, welcome, and it's clean. So this is why we are being called, whether we are conscious of it or not, um, to rise up the notch, you know,
And
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 to
and,
not
and
only be selfish and self-centered and me, and me, myself, and I, but instead I say like me is the M like this. No, it's we, W. So it's not me, it's
yeah.
we. So we are,
And I like that you're saying this polarization. We're in a stage, and this is some of the other things that I teach about. In the sequence, in order for it to like you're saying, to clean it up, you need to see it. So the way that you see it is you kind of, when you had the old televisions that you had to synthesize, you had to kind of fine tune the image. And
Yes,
this is what's happening. We kind of have to fine tune
yes.
and see the shadows and the light. So, and take one of the things that I think it's important, and I love the way that you are, Diane, because you're always very positive, and you're bringing this, this change with full heart, and I, like, you embrace this change with full heart. But I see that there is also a lot of pain in who's not embracing this, and I think this is what's happening. It's a change in the world, but we are choosing as individuals if we embrace that change, if we become part of that change, or if we're against that change. And I see that break, how better people are coming up, and then suddenly even more I don't want to say eviler, but it's the contrasts are there,
Why not?
right? I mean, you can see these darkness and light clashing, don't you?
And what's nice that you said, I'm very happy you mentioned that, Santiago, because it brings me back to when I was very young and learning in the Bible, when Jesus spoke
Hmm.
about people saying, and right now we are hearing people saying, well, if God is so good, how can he allow this bad stuff? It starts with an S, to happen.
Hmm.
Well, what did Jesus say? Even I, the Son of God, cannot even intervene because my Father gave you the gift of free will. So you get the world you deserve. It's not my Father who's going like, boo, it's going to go bad. It's look at yourself. Look at what you. This is why people are waking up. I don't know if you've observed, but planetary.
Hmm.
I am working with Jesus and around the world, and I'm observing there are so many people now who are praying, so many people who are connecting with Jesus that I call Team Jesus Worldwide. So many people are becoming conscious of their own choices that were
Hmm.
in that predicament because there's been a bad witch, that did something to us. No, 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 no. It's our free will. Let's
Yeah.
make conscious choices. Let's make take conscious decisions, Is it going to be not only good for me, but good for the world, good for the good of all, and the glory of God? And so we are actually, again, like a child, where I would say maybe at the end of adolescence, young,
Yeah.
adulthood. So we're learning that there's somebody else in life other than us to work as a collectivity, to work in the spirit of love, and it's really beautiful. And you know who's very, very inspiring? The younger generation. They're
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
they're so lit up. They get it, and it's like so hopeful to look at them and say, you know what? Something great is coming up. It's really brewing.
No, and I see that. I think you said it. We're going from this adolescence, irresponsibility,
Yes,
immaturity, into, and now we're being accountable. Now we're
yes,
taking responsibility, and we're understanding that it's not only us being in the back seat and being a brat or being spoiled, but it's also cooperating, being a part
Mhm.
of the creation of the collaboration of creation with God. I think that's very
Yes,
important. It's one of the things that we've also mentioned in the podcast, that it's not that God is just saying what to do. It really, the existence and creation, the universe is distributive. It's something that everybody cooperates. I mean, all the entities, everybody, that even if we feel that we're insignificant and we're just human, we have a specific and special place in creation. When we assume that and when we participate, then harmony starts to come. And I see that that's the season that we're starting, Diane. That we're leaving this winter, this desolation, and maybe this also, and then we're going to talk about this in our next segment. But this old idea of of Jesus into a new idea of Jesus, into not only seeing him as this divine Jesus and his divine nature, but also his human nature and how we can relate to that human nature and become more like him and follow that path of Jesus, right?
I think it's so beautiful that you said this. Actually, I feel a great synchronicity between you and me because I think of something, you say it, and then you say it, and I like to compliment. Uh, yes, to compliment, to add. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
to me, Santiago, a lot of the problems on the planet are due to the fact that we've been living in our H mode, our human mode only. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why, for the longest time, I've been advocating people to live in 2008. Actually, I think I was at UCLA for an international spiritual conference, a UB conference. And
Mm-hmm.
I was asked to give a presentation. And at the time, I don't know if you remember then, but the HD mode of equipment was coming out with different
Mm-hmm.
pieces of equipment, whether it was screens or HD computers or whatever. And I was wondering what to talk about. And then I was at the restaurant and I saw this big full page ad, come and buy your HD equipment here. And so when I got to LA, I said, you know what, folks? If machines, they're just metal. They're at our service. Thank God they exist. But if machines, material machines, have their HD mode, how about us humans having our HD mode? Because machines have their high definition mode. What about us living in our highest definition mode, our human
Yeah.
divine? And when you look at when you read the beautiful, revelatory life and teachings of Jesus in the Urantia book, they tell us Jesus came with this human and divine mode. So the beauty is that Jesus was not only blah 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 just talking. He was a doer. Okay, you know
Yeah.
what, children? My children, I'll show you what it is to live in your HD mode, your highest definition mode, which I wouldn't be surprised if in many years from now the third level, like man started as Homo erectus, like when man stood up, Homo erectus, and then Homo sapiens, the mind, and then Homo Deus, HD again. And so
Yeah.
I think that, and Jesus was the seed that was planted on the planet for the HD a phase, of humanity. We had evolved physically, we had evolved mentally. Now it was time to educate us spiritually as HD mode, Homo Deus, our highest definition mode. And I think that people are becoming more and more conscious of this as a society, as a humanity. And it's beautiful to see people think not only in the H mode, survival mode, but HD. Hey, I want to do to you what I would like you to do to me. I'll be good to you. So
Yeah.
it's a boomerang.
That's what I like about this concept that you defined as a human and divine mode, the HD mode, and that's we're going to close this segment and go into our next segment, which is actually Team Jesus Worldwide, the concept that you brought about living in the HD mode, the human and divine that
Yeah.
Jesus brought to our world. On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.